So, is kindness strength or weakness? Honestly, it's neither.
Actually, before we get to that, let's start at the beginning. Hi, I'm Dr. Stan Steindl, and welcome to Compassion in a T-shirt, where we explore the science and practice of compassion and how it can transform lives. Today, we're diving into one of the oldest, thorniest, and strangely controversial questions out there. Is kindness a strength or a weakness? You've probably heard the sayings like nice guys finish last, or don't be a doormat, or even kindness is weakness. In pop culture, the tough characters are often the leaders. The kind ones? They're the sidekicks, the comic relief, or the ones getting walked over. Is kindness strong enough within the self? Even some public figures push this idea. Clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson, for example, has said, if you're not a monster, you can't be virtuous. His argument is that true virtue must be chosen from a position of potential power. If you're harmless because you're incapable of anything else, then your kindness isn't really a moral achievement. In Peterson's view, a truly virtuous person is someone who has the capacity for assertiveness, even aggression, but chooses instead to act with compassion or restraint. For Peterson, then, kindness that comes from weakness or fear isn't strength at all. It's avoidance. Is kindness enough in society? Philosopher and cultural critic Slavoj Žižek offers a very different kind of critique. He's deeply suspicious of what he calls feel-good kindness, the small acts we perform that make us feel moral or generous, without changing the systems that create suffering. Žižek argues that kindness, particularly in capitalist societies, can sometimes act as a kind of moral sugarcoating of deep injustices. For example, giving to charity might ease one's guilt without addressing the root causes of poverty. In this view, kindness can actually maintain the status quo, distracting us from necessary political or structural change. Is kindness even realistic at all? Not according to John Gray, a British political philosopher known for his sharp critiques of humanist ideals. Gray doesn't necessarily argue against kindness directly, but he's deeply sceptical of attempts to centre kindness within political or social systems. In his view, these efforts often rely on a belief of human perfectibility, a belief he sees as both misguided and dangerous. For Gray, humans are not on an inevitable trajectory towards moral progress. We're driven by self-interest, tribalism, and survival instincts. Kindness may exist, but attempts to build a society around it are likely to falter when confronted by the darker, more enduring parts of human nature. In that sense, kindness isn't a weakness, but nor is it a reliable foundation for large-scale change. So what's going on here? Is kindness just soft or naive, or is there more to it? There's a growing tension in how we talk about kindness. On one hand, we're told to be kind everywhere, from bumper stickers to mental health campaigns. On the other hand, there's this cultural pushback. People worry kindness means being taken advantage of, burning out from overgiving, or just not being tough enough for the real world. In workplaces, for example, people often associate kindness with people-pleasing or emotional labour. And in relationships, we sometimes hear, "I'm tired of always being the kind one." But what if the problem isn't kindness itself, but how we do kindness? Let's pause the philosophy for a moment and look at what the research says, because it turns out kindness is not only good for others, it's good for us too. Sonja Lyubomirsky, a leader in positive psychology, found that regular acts of kindness can significantly boost happiness and well-being. And here's a curious finding. Kindness works best when you do a bunch of kind things in one day. People who packed 5 kind acts into a single day felt a bigger boost than those who spread them out across several days or a week. Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton showed that specific kind acts, such as spending money on others, even small amounts, makes people happier than spending it on themselves. They tested this in multiple countries and across income levels. Generosity, it seems, is universally rewarding. But what if you're not the kind type? Good news. Psychologist Jamil Zaki says kindness is a skill, not a fixed trait. In his book, The War for Kindness, he describes kindness as plastic, malleable. The more we practice it, the more natural it becomes. And it's contagious. Seeing someone else be kind increases the chances that you will be kind too, like emotional dominoes. Zaki's message is clear. If we want a kinder world, we can build it, one act at a time. Now, it's not all sunshine and warm fuzzies. Adam Grant, in his book Give and Take, found that givers in workplaces can burn out or be taken advantage of if they don't set boundaries. So it's not about being endlessly self-sacrificing. It's about intentional kindness, kindness with backbone, kindness with boundaries. So if you've ever thought that kindness made you soft or weak or naive, just know the evidence paints a very different picture. When kindness is practiced with wisdom, courage, and self-awareness, it's a form of strength. And this is where compassion-focused therapy has something powerful to say. In CFT, we draw a clear distinction between kindness and compassion. Kindness is considered a prosocial behaviour, something that benefits others and helps strengthen social bonds. But it doesn't necessarily arise in response to suffering. Compassion, on the other hand, is specifically designed as a sensitivity to suffering in ourselves and others, along with a deep commitment to try to alleviate and prevent it. Kindness can be part of compassion, but not all kindness is compassion. And compassion doesn't always look kind. Sometimes it's fierce, assertive, or boundary setting, because its aim is to be helpful, not just nice. From a CFT perspective, kindness that arises from the wisdom, strength, courage, and caring commitment of the compassionate mind allows us to be kind without falling into the traps described by the critics or even the advocates. And when kindness isn't appropriate, when action needs to be stronger or firmer, compassion is still there, guiding us to act helpfully and courageously in the service of well-being. True compassion, and by extension, true kindness, is not passive. It takes strength, wisdom, and definitely even courage. It's the nurse who stays calm in the crisis, the teacher who keeps showing up for struggling kids, the friend who says the hard truth kindly. Kindness doesn't mean being a pushover. It means being grounded enough to act from care, even when it's uncomfortable. So, is kindness strength or weakness? Honestly, it's neither. Kindness is a choice, a skill, a practice, and like any skill, it takes effort, discernment, boundaries. But when it's rooted in compassion and done with intention, kindness becomes one of the most quietly powerful things we can offer others and ourselves. Here are 3 takeaways. First, kindness boosts well-being, but only when it's intentional and authentic. Second, kindness is contagious and trainable. We can get better at it. And third, kindness isn't weakness. Practiced wisely, it's one of our greatest strengths. Thanks for watching Compassion in a T-shirt. If this episode got you thinking about how you relate to kindness, either in yourself or others, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and maybe even share this video with someone who could use a little kindness today. See you next time.